Kevin, the guys are going to be wearing those Guardians caps today.
Guardian caps. Guardians, that's a baseball team.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Duly noted. I mean, it's obviously a great idea to protect these guys. Any resistance at all from the players?
I've talked to the team about it, Tom. It's something that was jointly agreed upon with the PA and the NFL, and anything we can do to make our game safer, we're all about. So that's something that is new this year. I think the guys are open to it. Like anything, I'm sure there's going to be getting used to it and those type of things, but we use them with the rookies in that first camp when we had just the rookies and the quarterbacks out here. We had them on, so I think it'll just become the norm likely in our game.
Good feedback from when you used it.
We really so that was the rookies wearing them, so their feedback is no feedback, right? They won't tell you anything, but we really haven't had them on, so today will be the first time with the veterans having them on.
Only a period of time?
It's through the second week of the preseason, and it's O-line, D-line, tight ends, and linebackers.
Off of that, Kevin,
Just at practice.
Do you see that affecting like short yardage drills and goal line drills, anything?
No, I don't. I mean, everything we do, we keep the head out of it, whether you're tackling or blocking or taking on a block. You know, we're trying to keep our head out of it. That's good technique. So putting these things on doesn't automatically make you, a battering ram of any sort. So we're still being very safe in how we teach, and the guys know that's how we operate. We don't use our head in that way.
you mentioned the positions, Kevin. Is it open to the DB and quarterback?
Exactly. That's right. So it's mandatory for O-line, D-line, linebackers, tight ends, and then open to anyone else who wants to try it.
Do you know if any other?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
When do the full pads hit on Monday?
Tuesday. Yep.
Kevin, Miles.
Go ahead, John.
We talked to Murray Cooper and asked him about this quarterback business, and he basically said, as long as he gets open, no matter who's back there. So he's not making much of a big deal about it. Is that how you look at it? Or?
Yeah, I'd co-sign. Yeah.
Right.
What Amari said.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
But no, he said if the ball spirals to him,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Jeff, our receivers, they have their job to do, and they got to get open, and they got to catch the football. I don't think they spend a lot of time thinking about that. Conversely, quarterbacks do spend time thinking about how guys come out of breaks, getting used to a player's length or maybe lack of length and how you throw to them. But receivers, they're getting open and they're catching the ball.
Yesterday we asked about the continuity of you bringing your staff back and third year together and whatnot. On the field, your secondary, having those guys together, coming back, ending the season strong. Just how does that, affect your expectations and your hopes of what they may accomplish?
Are you saying the secondary or the whole defense?
The secondary.
Specifically the secondary? Yeah, I think, as you guys know, there's a lot of communication that occurs in the back end, and oftentimes it's nonverbal communication. You're signaling to each other. You're watching a guy's demeanor to understand what he's doing and an adjustment. You're making adjustments based on the formation, based on stacks, based on bunches and those type of things. So anytime you have the same group together, communication does become easier. Not to say that you don't work at it, but I think continuity allows that communication to be more seamless and maybe move a little bit faster in settings like this.
Kevin, yesterday Miles said that he's still got a lot left in the tank to get better on. Where do you see, just given how dominant he's been in the past, that he can get better specifically?
Yeah, I think we mentioned this before, Jake. We'll sit with all the players when we get back to the off-season program, and we spend a lot of time looking at the tape and identifying things that every single player, and a guy like Miles, who's a great player, there's always something that he needs to get better at. And next year it's going to be the same message. And I just think that's players that push themselves. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics, but there's always things in technique that you can improve upon. And I think Miles, along with Coach Kiff, has identified those things and want to make sure that you start working it here on the practice field.
Miles was so dominant early on in the season, at least statistically. Later on, not quite as much. What do you attribute that to as you went back and looked at
I do think you need to be careful because sacks do not tell an entire story. I think pressures really tell the story oftentimes. So and it's all of us do it, you look at that sack number and that's maybe not the best indicator of a player's impact on the game. So I thought Miles had a significant impact throughout the season.
J.J. Green was talking about Grant Delpit and said his leadership has kind of impressed him. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I think with Grant Marlar going back to the off-season program, he just did a really nice job in understanding what we're doing, was efficient in his movement. So I think any leadership probably comes from him being more comfortable out there on the grass. This is, in a lot of ways, year 2 for Grant. So I think he's just getting more comfortable, and then natural leaders, that starts to come out of them when they can process information quickly and can react quickly and are doing their job. That's when the leadership then can start to show up.
Kevin, the receivers outside of Amari, obviously, you like the potential, but it's not a lot of experience. Is there a concern there, about, getting that consistency out of that collection?
Well, I think you hit it. Consistency is really, really important for any position, but that receiver position, certainly we're looking for guys that can perform on a consistent basis. We do have Amari who's done it at a high level, throughout his career, and we do have young guys that we're excited about. So it's a group, on whole, it's a group that we're excited about.
On Amari a little bit, those number 1 receivers, they tend to come with a lot of personality, and he seems like he's more of a down-to-earth type of guy. Just from your perspective and the time you spent with him, just what type of personality do you think Amari?
Yeah, I think you guys are getting to know Amari just like I'm getting to know Amari and spending time with him. He is a little bit more low-key, not loud and boisterous, but he's a great teammate. He's brilliant, smart. I sit right behind him in meetings. He's as smart a player as I've been around. I really enjoy having him out here. I enjoy watching him work. I mean, he's such a big, imposing figure at that position, and to watch him go through drills and take extra reps, he won't take himself out. So Coach O'Shea is the one that has to manage those type of reps, but he's a pro's pro all the way.
Kevin, with a player like Nick Harris, when he's not playing for a couple years before he gets that opportunity, what are you kind of watching, and what are you learning about him as he's going through meetings, seeing him on the practice field? How do you kind of judge his work?
Yeah, with Nick, as you know, he practiced so much because JC was really on a pitch count, if you will, and we were being careful with JC's knees throughout his career. So with Nick, we saw a lot of Nick. There was a ton of reps that we got with him, and then he got to, in the meeting room, be able to study with JC, with Coach Callahan, Joel, Jack, Wyatt, some of the older players, more established players. So I think he's been brought along the right way. And then to his credit, he's done everything we've asked him to do. He's another guy that's worked very, very hard in this building to transform his body. So I'm excited about Nick.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, when you took those first few reps, like you said, with JC, how much does that accelerate a guy's growth?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like doing. So you can be up on the board as much as you want, but doing the job is really what will allow you to learn any of those tasks.
When the trade for a number 1 receiver is conceived in your building, does it start with Andrew or you?
That particular one, I don't remember, Tony. I think what happens is you spend a lot of time on potential cuts, potential trades. So you kind of have that list of guys. So Amari was a guy that we had done work on prior to that deal. So I had watched him, the coaches had watched him, the scouts had watched him. So I would tell you he was on our radar as a guy who may be available.
So wherever it was conceived, you or both departments are involved?
Yes, so yeah, very much so. Yeah.
There's a lot of new faces on the roster, and a lot of these guys talking about chemistry and building that this training camp. A couple days in, is there any specific, dedicated times to talk about maybe how they were in the off season, letting these guys get to know each other, or is that just on them to do themselves?
It's a good question. I think a lot of it is organic, and it's so much easier when you're standing next to somebody. And in our locker room, if you remember, we had the plastic up, and it was every 2 lockers were empty. Well, now everybody's next to each other. We're walking out to the practice field together. They can ride over together if they want to. They can go break bread together. So I think so much of that happens organically. But I will tell you, we do always, when you get back together, for instance, when we got back together in April, or we got back together a few days ago, you always do spend time to find out what everybody's been up to and share with each other. And guys that are having babies, guys that are getting married, all those type of things.
Kevin, I'm curious what you've learned about navigating personalities, whether they're big personalities or more quiet personalities like Cooper, because there's been so much change from last year to this year, and that's a part of the business, is navigating that as well with your players.
Yeah, I don't think it's any different than any business, quite honestly. I think there's some different personalities around this circle right here. And it's just, that's who we are. I mean, that's how we operate, certainly with different people and respecting people where they come from and where they are, and that's kind of what makes it fun, is having different personalities.
Do you have we haven't been in the locker room since you've been head coach, Kevin. Do you have like offensive linemen all together? Do you have guys?
Yeah, we have it spread out. Yeah, we have it spread out. You're always taking care of. There's some premium positions in that locker room. Guys like to be on the corner, and so that'll go to some of the vets and the older senior players. But we have them spread out.
Kevin, what was your advice for Callie as she left her head coaching game?
Well, we told her she's not allowed to come back without a gold medal, is what we told her. But no, she's ready. She's going to do a great job. I don't know if she needs my advice, but we're excited for her. She was able to be here for our team meeting on Tuesday night, so we kind of wished her well. But excited to hopefully get to watch some of that. It will be streaming. So we're looking forward to her doing her thing and coming back with a gold medal.
Kevin, as we inch toward a resolution with Deshaun, what is your message to him then?
Yeah, I think with Deshaun, I know there is that uncertainty like we talked about yesterday, but we can only control what we can control. And I think that's what he's done a very nice job of. And so much of that is football. There's a lot of volume to what we're doing right now when it comes to football. So there's a lot of meetings, there's a lot of install, there's a lot of workout and walkthrough and practice, and he's really thrown himself into that.
Are you empathetic to how challenging that can be for him?
Sure. I think everybody's going through certain challenges in training camp, and we have to be ready to navigate those like we've talked about, but we're trying to support all of our players.
It seemed like last year the high point or the climax of your training camp was the joint practice with the Giants. Will it be scripted similarly with the Eagles?
I don't know that it was that, Tony. I know that those 2 days versus the Giants were some really good work. We'll get some really good work versus the Eagles, obviously, out here, but we still have more room to go post that. Now, I think to your point, we'll really shift into regular season mode for that third preseason game versus Chicago. We'll go to a regular season schedule, if you will. So you'll notice that, but we've thought long and hard about how to plan this training camp so it's maximizing our ability to get this football team ready and minimizing any risk to injury.
Kevin, you've been around Jordan Elliott now for 2 years. What gives you guys the confidence that he's ready to take on what looks like it's going to be a big role?
Yeah, he's another guy that did an awesome job here throughout the offseason and the summer. I mean, has been diligent about his work. He looks great. I think he feels great. Excited about what he has. I mean, he's given us some really good moments in his first couple seasons. I think he's ready to take on that bigger role. I think he's excited about it, and just the way he's attacked this offseason showed me that he's trending in the right direction.